creating color samplers with the info panel in Photoshop. We have the eyedropper tool. The eyedropper tool allows us to sample existing colors within our document. So when I click the eyedropper tool, here it is. Sometimes people call this the turkey baster. It kind of looks like you're going to suck up the color. And so here's where I am sampling up color. You can see I get a strong circle around where I'm clicking. My sample size is set to point sample, so that means it should be sampling up exactly what's underneath of my cursor. Okay, when I do that, my foreground color picks up that sampled value. So you can see and I can click and drag around, and if you watch my color panel, it's moving around. You can see how this is being adjusted on the fly. Okay, so if I can, sample up a color this way, I could potentially then go into swatches and I could save this new color here in swatches if I wanted to. That takes a lot of time, that takes a lot of work, but it's a way to store some colors. Photoshop also offers us another tool, and this is called the Color Sampler tool. So the Color Sampler tool allows us to save color samples. So unlike the eyedropper tool, which limits us to one color sample at a time, the Color Sampler tool allows us to do multiple color samples. And so the color reading that I get is actually stored in the info panel. So let's go ahead and open the info panel. Here it is. So if I click with my color sampler, and it looks like the eyedropper except for it has a little target icon there up in the top left. So if I click right here, what happens is I get a little target out here on my artboard with a number 1. That color reading for that specific value is stored right here, number 1. Let's do a couple more. There's number 2. There's number 3. There's number 4. We can get up to 10 color samples with Creative Cloud. If you have an older version of Photoshop, say CS6, you are only able to store 4 color samples. But now I can save up to 10 samples here. The other information that's stored in this info panel is, along with RGB, I have CMYK. I also have the XY coordinates of the current pointer location, and you can see how that changes as I drag across my image. I can go ahead and move this color information. This color sampler can be relocated. Okay, and you can see how my numbers then are updated here. So I can drag them around. If I want to delete one of them, I hold down my Option or my Alt key and click. Right on top of one of them, I get a scissor, and that goes away. Now what happens if I delete one of these that's in the middle, like I just deleted number 3, all of the rest reshuffle. And so what was 4 becomes 3, what was 5 becomes 4, so on, so on. So each time a color sample is deleted, the remaining samplers are just automatically renumbered. The cool thing, samplers are saved with the image in which they are created. So if I go ahead and save this as a Photoshop document, my color samplers will be saved. And like I mentioned, the Color Sampler tool does allow us to store up to 10 distinct color samplers. So you find that information in the info panel. So that's a really great way to kind of pull out specific color values from an image.